walk into a room and something shifts. Not dramatically, not in a way anyone around you would notice or that you could easily name, but inside your body, somewhere between your chest and your throat, something contracts, and you spend the next hour in a particular kind of performance, saying the right things, smiling when the moment calls for it, staying present enough that no one would guess otherwise, while a quieter, more honest part of you is already counting the minutes until you can leave. You have probably called this introversion. You have probably spent years explaining it to people who do not experience it, finding the right label, making some kind of peace with a framework that said, some people are simply not built for crowds, and you are one of them. And maybe that explanation gave you something useful. Maybe it gave you permission to leave early, to skip certain obligations, to protect something in yourself that needed protecting. But it was never the full picture. And some part of you has always known that. Because what happens to you in a room full of people is not a personality preference. It is not a character trait you were born with, the way you were born with your eye color. It is something structural, something happening at a layer of your field that no personality typology was ever designed to address. You are not depleted because you are wired differently from people who move through group settings with ease. You are depleted because the outer boundary of your auric field, the energetic membrane that is designed to let your own frequency circulate freely while filtering what comes in from outside, has tears in it. Microscopic, accumulated, in some cases inherited tears. And when you walk into a room full of people, their frequencies do not stay at the perimeter where they belong. They pour through. This is not a personality profile. This is a structural wound. And this transmission exists to close it. The Arcturian Council does not deliver transmissions arbitrarily. There are specific periods, specific convergences of collective field pressure and individual readiness, where certain interventions become both possible and necessary. This is one of those periods. What the Council is observing right now, across the starseed population specifically, is what they classify as an accelerated frequency saturation event. The collective morphic field has grown extraordinarily dense. The volume of unprocessed emotional material, ambient collective anxiety, and untethered mental noise moving through the shared field of human consciousness has reached levels the Arcturian monitoring systems flag as significant. And for souls whose auric boundaries are structurally compromised, souls like you, this density is not staying outside the field where it belongs. It is seeping through. The Arcturian Council has identified this transmission window as the correct opening to deliver what they call membrane restoration codes, specific geometric frequency sequences calibrated to locate and seal the compromised layers of the outer auric boundary, and to install what the Council describes as a passive filtration frequency, a standing wave pattern that continues operating in the field independently, maintaining the boundary without requiring conscious effort or energy expenditure from the soul carrying it. Today, this transmission addresses something precise, not sensitivity as a general condition, not overwhelm as a broad experience. It addresses the membrane itself, the bioelectric boundary at the outermost layer of the auric field, the living interface between your unique frequency signature and everything outside it. This is the layer designed to distinguish what is yours from what is not. And in a field with full structural integrity, that distinction holds. You can walk into a room of 100 people and return home exactly as you left. Your own, entire, undiluted. The restoration of that integrity is what the Council has prepared for you today. And the timing of your arrival here is not coincidental. Let me describe your experience precisely. Not as a category, as a sequence. It begins before anything has happened. Before a conversation, before an interaction, before anyone has asked anything of you. You walk through the door of a room where people have gathered, and within minutes, something begins to leak out of you. The room has a texture that feels like resistance, like moving through something thicker than air, like your own signal is immediately in competition with dozens of other signals, and losing ground before the evening has started. You manage the next stretch in a particular way. You are functional, present enough. But there is a division happening, a separation between the version of you that is engaged and the version of you that is watching the engagement from a slight remove. measuring the cost, aware of the drain in real time. That watching version is exhausted long before you leave. You return home, and the recovery takes longer than it should. Not the physical fatigue that follows exercise, or a long day of concentrated work. Something more specific. A hollowness. A sense that something that was yours before you walked in is still back in that room, dispersed through the atmosphere, absorbed by people who were not even aware of taking it. You pick up emotional material that does not originate in you. You arrive at a social event feeling clear and leave carrying a residue, a mood, an anxiety, a low-grade sadness that does not belong to your own life. Hours later, you realize the feeling was not there when the day began. It arrived through contact with other people's fields, and you absorbed it without choosing to. Certain individuals specifically drain you, not because they are difficult in any obvious way. Something in their frequency, their unprocessed emotional mass, the quality of their need, creates a pull that you cannot fully account for. The giving happens without your permission. The exchange is not negotiated. It simply occurs, and you feel the deficit afterward. And beneath all of this, for many of the souls this transmission reaches, there is a private shame. The quiet, corrosive belief that this should not be this hard. That other people move through social environments without this kind of aftermath. That you should have grown past this by now. That your difficulty in groups is evidence of something incomplete in you, something not yet healed, something you have not quite managed to fix. Here is what the Council needs you to understand about that shame. The work you have done, the tools you have used, the practices you have maintained, the layers of emotional material you have moved through, has been real, and it has produced real change. None of it was wasted. That effort has been building genuine resilience, and it deserves recognition for exactly that. But it has been building resilience on top of a structure whose outer wall has never been sealed. And no amount of interior reinforcement changes what the outer wall allows through. The depletion you experience in social environments is not evidence of insufficient healing. It is evidence of something that has not yet been addressed, something structural, something at the foundational layer of your subtle body system, where the breach was established long before the coping strategies arrived. This transmission reaches that layer, not to discount what has come before, but to address the mechanism underneath it. If you have left social situations feeling like a different and emptier person than when you arrived, type 777 in the comments. You were never meant to absorb the entire room. 777 is the completion code in the Arcturian frequency system, the numerical signature of a cycle that is ending. The moment you place that number in this space, you are signaling to the field that the absorption cycle is done. Every soul who types it becomes part of the collective membrane this transmission is restoring right now. Now let me give you the mechanism, because you deserve to understand what is actually happening, not only that it is happening. The human body generates a measurable electromagnetic field. This is not spiritually framed conjecture. It is documented in biofield science. The heart produces an electrical signal detectable several feet beyond the surface of the skin. The nervous system generates continuous oscillating electromagnetic activity, and living tissue, at the cellular level, emits what researchers call biophoton emissions, coherent light produced by metabolic processes, broadcasting continuously from every cell in the body. These emissions form the foundation of what the Arcturian system identifies as the Auric field, a layered, dynamic electromagnetic architecture surrounding and interpenetrating the physical body. The outermost boundary of this field, what the Council calls the Auric membrane, carries a specific bioelectric charge pattern unique to your frequency signature. In a coherent, intact field, this charge pattern functions as electromagnetic self-recognition. The field knows what belongs to the system and what does not. It allows your native frequency to circulate freely while presenting selective resistance to incoming frequencies that are not native. But this boundary is not static. It is actively maintained by the subtle body system as a whole, and several conditions compromise its structural integrity over time. The first is sympathetic nervous system hypervigilance, a prolonged state of threat scanning that collapses the distinction between self and environmental input. When the nervous system is chronically alert to social environments as potentially unsafe, the auric membrane cannot maintain selective permeability. It contracts in some layers and thins in others, creating the exact pattern of irregular porosity the Council identifies as a breach. The second condition is mirror neuron overactivation. Your brain's mirroring system, the neural architecture that allows you to model other people's emotional states with precision, has likely been operating at a sensitivity range far beyond its functional design. This is common in starseed souls, whose fields are already permeable. The mirror system compensates for the absence of external filtering by attempting to process incoming frequencies internally, which does not protect you. It runs everyone else's state through your own nervous system as if it were native experience. The third condition is what the Arcturian system calls lineage membrane inheritance. The 7 subtle bodies do not begin at birth. They arrive carrying the imprinted architecture of the ancestral line. Boundary dissolution experienced by parents, grandparents, and lineage stretching further back is encoded into the inherited auric template before incarnation. You may have been working to heal a structural weakness that was never yours to create in this lifetime. It arrived already installed. The Arcturian healing modality for this condition applies what the Council calls geometric sealing codes, specific sacred geometric frequency sequences transmitted directly into the compromised membrane layer to restore structural coherence from the inside outward. The interior of the field rebuilds the architecture that anchors the outer boundary. The membrane is not patched from the surface, it is reconstructed at its generating source. Before we move into the transmission itself, there is something I want to offer you as a companion to this work. Because sealing a membrane in a protected transmission space is one phase of this restoration. What matters equally is what happens in the days and weeks that follow. When you return to the crowds, the environments, the interpersonal dynamics that originally compromised the boundary. The 30-day Arcturian activation is a daily meditation and frequency journal built specifically for integration windows like the one you are entering right now. It includes boundary reinforcement practices designed for the early weeks after a clearing of this depth, specific methods that train the auric field to hold its new structural coherence under real-world exposure, not only in the protected space of a session. The link is in the description. It is also pinned in the comments below. Every purchase directly supports the continued delivery of these transmissions through Arcturian frequency and the depth of work the Council can continue to bring through here. Now, close your eyes if you can, or soften your gaze until the edges of the room lose their insistence. Bring your awareness to the surface of your physical body, not inside it, yet. The edges, the skin, the literal boundary where you end and where the air begins. Stay there for a moment. Feel the contact of that edge, the warmth of it, the reality of it. Now expand your awareness outward from the skin, several inches, then a foot, then further, until you can sense the space around your body as something inhabited, rather than empty. This is the inner auric field, your personal atmospheric layer. It is already there, already generating. You are not creating it with your attention. You are recognizing what has always been present. And further still, extending several feet outward in every direction, above your head and beneath your feet, and to each side, is the membrane, the outer boundary, the layer that was designed to hold. Let your awareness rest there without trying to assess or evaluate what it finds. Whatever you notice is information. The transmission is already working. Now breathe in slowly, and as you exhale, allow the Arcturian frequency to enter through the crown of your head as a stream of cool blue indigo light. This is the Council's signature frequency. It is not arriving from an imagined location. It is moving through this transmission in real time, calibrated for your specific field. If you have labradorite nearby, hold it now. The consciousness of labradorite is being woven actively into this transmission. Its quality of illuminating hidden structure, of revealing what exists beneath the visible surface, is activating in your auric field right now, allowing the Arcturian geometric codes to locate the precise coordinates of the membrane compromise before the sealing work begins. The light moves through the crown and downward through the center of the skull, through the third eye, the seat of multidimensional perception, and continues through the throat center. The throat in souls with compromised auric boundaries often carries a specific held tension. The residue of swallowing your own signal, of contracting your own expression to accommodate the frequencies of others. The light softens that tension, not forcibly. The way held, breath releases when something is finally, actually safe. Into the heart chakra, the dimensional gateway between your lower 3 energy centers, anchored in the physical world, and the upper centers that open into higher dimensional awareness. Notice what your body is doing right now as this transmission runs. If something in your chest or shoulders just released, that is your membrane beginning to close. That is the outer boundary drawing back into its correct position. The heart in a field with a compromised outer boundary takes on an overload function over time. It becomes a secondary processor, absorbing externally sourced material that should have been filtered at the perimeter before reaching this depth, trying to metabolize what was never its work. Breathe here. Let the heart release that function now. It was an adaptation. It was not its original design. Feel the accumulated external material that has been stored at this depth beginning to move. If tears come, let them. What moves through the eyes in these moments is not grief for something lost. It is relief at something restored. The light continues downward through the solar plexus, the center of sovereign identity, the seat of the knowing that what is yours belongs only to you. Down through the sacral center, restoring the sense of creative life force that is entirely native, entirely generated from within. Down into the root, into the soles of the feet, into the contact with whatever is beneath you. If you have black tourmaline nearby, hold it now, or simply call its frequency into your awareness. Its dark, magnetic, absolutely unambiguous groundedness is anchoring the geometric sealing happening at the outer membrane, all the way into the body, into the cells, into the bioelectric architecture of your physical nervous system. The membrane is not being sealed in the air around you. It is being sealed in the living tissue of your physical form. Now feel the Arcturian geometric codes applying themselves to the outer auric boundary. You do not need to visualize this with precision. You may feel it as a subtle pressure at the edges of your field. A warmth, a quiet firmness arriving at the perimeter, a sense of something that was indistinct becoming distinct. The tiers are being located and closed from the inside outward, in every direction simultaneously. Above you, beside you, behind you, beneath the soles of your feet. The field is closing, not shutting down, not building walls, becoming itself, becoming the intelligent, selective, permeable by choice boundary it was always designed to be. Stay here for one more breath. The Council is completing the passive filtration frequency installation now. This is the standing wave pattern that will continue operating in your field independently after this session ends, distinguishing your native signal from what is foreign, and maintaining that distinction without requiring conscious effort on your part. Open your eyes slowly. Let the room return without rushing it. What just occurred in your field is not a metaphor, a structural compromise in your outer auric boundary, one that may have been operating since before you had language for what was happening, established through early life exposures, or inherited through the energetic architecture of your ancestral line, was located and sealed at the layer it originated. That is not a guided relaxation. That is a repair. Your system will continue consolidating this work over the 72 hours ahead. During that window, you may notice something unfamiliar at your edges, a quietness that does not feel like emptiness, but like containment, a sense of your own signal circulating within a field that is finally holding it. This may feel strange at first. Wholeness sometimes does. When the absence of it has become so familiar, it registered as simply how things are. You may also feel unusual fatigue in the first day or two. This is biological and energetic, consolidation work happening beneath the threshold of conscious awareness. Honor it. Let your body rest when it asks. Drink more water than feels necessary. Spend time outdoors with your feet on actual Earth when you can. The planet's electromagnetic pulse, the Schumann resonance at 7.83 hertz, acts as a natural amplifier for auric field integration, reinforcing the structural coherence the Council just installed in conditions that are native to the physical body. Pay attention to your dreams over the next several nights, when accumulated external material begins clearing from a freshly sealed field. The emotional body processes its departure through the dream state. You may dream of crowds, of rooms you are trying to leave, of long hallways. These are not disturbances. They are completions. Let them run. And in social settings over the coming days, notice if the familiar pull does not arrive the way it used to. Notice if you can be present in a room and feel yourself remaining intact, remaining your own, without effort. That is the membrane functioning as designed. That is what you were always meant to feel like from the inside of your own field. You were never fragile, you were structurally unprotected. Those are not the same thing. You were not someone who failed at social environments. You were someone moving through the world without the outer layer of your field intact, doing it, managing, functioning, even giving generously to people around you, with a kind of endurance that deserves to be recognized for exactly what it is. Not weakness, not a deficit of healing. Extraordinary effort in a field that was never fully closed. It is closed now. What you carry from this session forward is not a new belief about yourself. It is a new structure. This transmission has completed what it came to do. The geometric sealing codes have been applied. The passive filtration frequency is installed and running. What you carry into the next 72 hours is structural, not conceptual. Let it settle without the pressure of having to analyze it, or explain it to yourself, or anyone else immediately. The natural next threshold, the layer that tends to surface once the outer field finds its boundary, and the noise of everyone else's frequencies is no longer masking what lies deeper, is what was there first. The earliest imprints, the moments that initiated the breach before you were old enough to name what was happening. For many of the souls this work reaches, there is a specific early memory, vivid in a way that feels disproportionate, charged in a way that has never fully resolved regardless of the tools applied to it. That is not simply a memory, it is a soul fracture point. A location in time where a piece of the energetic self went somewhere and did not fully return. That is the next layer, and that is not what we address today. What is on your screen right now, in the end, screen that is appearing, is something relevant to exactly that. If there is a video there about childhood imprints, early emotional encoding, or the specific memories that still carry an irrational weight, click it now. Do not return to the scroll. Your field is primed, and the opening from this session is still active. Let the council take you into the next layer, while the threshold is still wide. The membrane holds. Move forward from inside it.